So I want to tell a little bit about how my first experience working with Kathryn, because it was very important to me, and I think as a sound community, how she thinks about sound in movies. So I got a call from a producer that I'd just finished up a movie with. He said he had this great project that he wanted to see if I was interested in. And the movie I'd just finished up was Harold and Kumar 2. So, you know, the great part I wasn't as certain about. But he said this was a movie took place in the Middle East. It was a war movie. The sound design would be just very important. And I know most of us, we always hear when we start a movie how important our sound is going to be in this movie. And then we realize a lot of work is suffocated by music or maybe something else. But he told me that the director wanted me to read this script before they went down the road any further to see if I really want to do this movie. Because it was very important that I would love this script before I met with the director. I didn't know who the director was at the time either. So they gave me the script. I read the script to Hurt Locker. And of course I was really interested, so I went to Kathryn's house to meet her. It was her and the writer of the script, which was also strange to me. It was unusual. And we had a little small talk. We sitting talking there, and I was thinking again, that's just me and the writer here, and things started going in my head, and I thought a question. So where are you shooting this movie? And Kathryn said, well, we're still working on that. And talk a little bit more, and then I asked her, so what about the cast? Who's in your cast? And there was no cast either, she said. And there was no picture editor. So it was her, the script, and the writer, and then me in the room. So I was thinking, kind of, what am I doing here? Is this movie even going to go? This seems very different from anything I ever worked on before. And I think Kathryn read my concern. And she said the sound design for Hurt Locker would be more important than any movie that I ever worked on. That the sound design had to be, a character in the movie as strong as any actor or anything else in the movie. So it was a great challenge, and of course very interested in this. Then Kathryn asked me, so she knew how to read a script, so how do you see the sound in this movie? And I drew a little bit from my military experience of the fierce army of Sweden, which I was in. Hey. And that, by the way, wasn't a joke. So I started to talk about this a little bit, and then I said, I don't hear a lot of score in this movie when I read the script. And just a little bit of pause in the room, and I didn't know Kathryn, so I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't have said that because I don't know where she came from. But then she said, well, I don't know that I want to hear any music at all, because this was a movie from the perspective of all these, people who were in the movie, and I just never met a director before that had this, plan in mind that we would carry this with sound design and just her fantastic directing and the actors and the script that we had. And she felt that it would be, if we heard score, we wouldn't experience that movie as being as closely with this group of people that we were with the movie, that we would feel watching a movie. And I think she always felt a movie would work best if we didn't know we were watching, a movie. So there should only be, I think there will only be music score if the sound design couldn't, carry it. I think there was a plan when we came into it. And it's not like Kathryn hates music. She loves music. And at times I even heard her sing. Directing is a stronger skill than the singing. So, no offense. And at the end of the meeting, she asked me what picture editor I like, what picture I would like to work with. And of all of us in this room, how many times have you gotten a question when you meet a director, what picture would you like to work with you? Probably no one, right? Yeah. One. Kathryn? Yeah, so yeah, I think she truly loves what sound design can bring to a movie, that we can base this all in reality of the stuff that is around us for movies. In the last movie, Detroit, that we finished up this year, we got to the end of Reel 5 before there was score in the movie, and most movies are done in Reel 5. And this is something I loved working with her, because what all of us do here becomes very important in her movie. And there's many of you ask me how is it to work with Kathryn. It's fantastic. She works on, I think, really important movies, great subjects. She makes me think a lot about the story that we're telling. It's never about a specific cool sound anywhere. It is about the totality of the movie, that the sound follows the arc of the story that she is telling. It's not about showcasing what I can do or anyone else can do. It has to be this oneness. And I really love her for that in the movies. I would say at times even put the sound design as high up there as actors. That's how important it is to her, and it's just very special and unique to work with her because of that. When we sit on the mixing stage, she's tremendously patient. If I need an hour to do a pass on a scene, she will sit there quietly, very patiently until I'm done. And it's not a rough pass that we usually do. We do a rough pass and try to get things in a ballpark, and then the director, want to have a stab at. But Kathryn would very patiently sit and let me present really what I had in mind in details. I will do my full-on pass. This is all I got. What do you think? And then we start working. And it's really rewarding that she trusts you with the skills that you have and what you bring to to her movie. And I think that allows you to do the finest work that you can do. I think that's maybe end of the day, that's kind of what we all want, room to breathe, room to be ourselves, the best that we can do. It just makes it really rewarding. I think everybody that I see around her when she works, I think she brings this out in all of us and makes us all better than we really are if we walk into the project. She's really focused as a filmmaker as well. We never need to work late days, we never work weekends. When I do a budget for her movies, there's not a line item for overtime because we have no overtime, which I also love. When we mix, and some of you might or might not know me, but when I mix with Kathryn's movie, I work by myself as a mixer. But we still take walks every day. On the stage, which means the stage is down. And usually we don't like the stage to be down. And it's not we walk out and talk about work, particularly. It might be I talk about my son's soccer game is with me here tonight, or Kathryn, she loves horses. We're talking about her horses, or politics, or anything else. It's not really about work. So she never forgets how important real life is. I think besides a great director, she's a very funny person, tremendously smart. I think in a speech tonight, you will hear words that you're going to have to look up when you come home, probably. At least that's how it is for me every day. It's a learning experience. And when she's not making movies, she's pretty busy with small things like saving the world, making this better place for all of us. Try to save near extinct animals, including humans. So I've done 3 movies with her, but far more of these other side projects. There's been about the elephants being hunted for their tusks in Africa, and there's a project a little bit in the works about these girls in Nigeria that Boko Haram have kidnapped and taken out of their villages and done horrific things to their families and everything else. And with her own money and time, she's bringing this to the forefront and going to help some of these young girls out of this horrible misery and get them into school and find them a home and stuff. So she does fantastic things outside just being a great director. And hopefully when she's done with all her, yeah, I think actually an applause for her efforts. And when she's done shortly, hopefully, maybe we can post this on the MPSE award and you all can help save a bunch of young kids that don't have any of the chances that we have had in our lives. And I think they will all be great, very happy. And if someone like Kathryn can give so much of her time, we can give a little bit of something back and help out as well. And I think with that, I think we're going to roll some clips of some movies she's directed and worked on.
I'm asking Paul to stay up here with me. You guys are so sweet, so nice. I can't, I don't know, I'm more nervous than Paul, way more nervous. This is an incredible honor, especially to be honored by this organization whose craft is absolutely invaluable to what we do as filmmakers. And this here, truly, this is sort of an out-of-body experience. And especially, it's been an incredible collaboration that I've had with Paul in the last 3 films, but he did leave out one note in that first meeting at the house about Hurt Locker. I asked him to come to the Middle East. Well, many of you know Paul. That was not gonna happen. But I thought it would have been fabulous to have him there. Anyway, but he felt it and he heard it, of course. But what was interesting is when I came back and I had a couple of rough cut scenes and I gave them to Paul, I wanted to get his thoughts. And within just a few days, he came back to me with, well, maybe a couple weeks, with fully formed tracks on these scenes. Now, the budget for the Hurt Locker was microscopic, and I mean, relatively speaking. And he came back with this incredible sound. I mean, all of a sudden we had like F-14s, we had legions of Black Hawks, we had convoys of Humvees, which of course we were lucky to get a fragment of one Black Hawk on camera. So, you know, but off camera there was and it was so incredible. It was like both imaginative and heretical at the same time. And I was, well, I don't know, I couldn't believe it. So that's this man here. You remember that moment, right? It was, I mean, anyway, it was pretty radical, at least I thought. You're looking, where are those F-14s? But it doesn't matter. All right, I did prepare a little something to say, so be patient with me. Also, I want to give a shout out to Kurt Sobel if he's here. I don't know if he is. He did he was our music editor on Detroit and did an extraordinary job. So. All right, so there's a 20th century painter whose name is George Braque. Great Cubist paintings, amazing work. Anyway, he said, "Art is a wound turned into light." As filmmakers, I think we all like to illuminate the dark corners. Certainly I do, I guess. So the 2 hours that we spend in the theater can and often does have an impact. Not only are we destined to relive our past if we don't remember it, but it may also provide context and a critique for our coarse and turbulent present. As our work lives beyond the screen is discussed, debated, dissected, and shared. This is the conversation art prompts. This is the necessary conversation, in my humble opinion, that raises our collective consciousness and reminds us why the larger themes that define what it is to be human matter. It reminds us why we're alive. I have to say it's a great privilege to create art that has the transformative power to inform, inspire, and impact our culture. And it's imperative, again, in my humble opinion, that we choose difficult subject matters if it deepens our contribution to a more just tomorrow. This organization, in mentoring and educating the community about the artistic merit and technical advancements in sound and music editing, makes our experiences richer and more expansive. And the important work you do, I just want you to know that it's really important and really critical to provide scholarships for the continuing advancement of the craft, makes it possible for this to be true for generations to come. And generations to come, so that the important voices and stories can be told. The stories that will expand our worldview. This is the great potential of our profession. We certainly want our work to be meaningful and to stand the test of time. All of you in this room, you work at the intersection of art and technique. You understand that in the midst of a thoughtfully layered and sophisticated sonic landscape, it might be a moment of pristine silence that makes one aware of their own heartbeat, the intake of their breath, the sound of their conscience. You bring such depth to the emotional experience of cinema that cinema arrives at a new metric. Not just entertainment, but it becomes transformative and most importantly, it becomes relevant. You give voice to our thoughts, aspirations, and hopes. And may your work resonate with a higher purpose. Finally, okay, this is just a bit of a non sequitur, but I have to mention it. Anyway, finally, since it is sound that brings us all together tonight, I'd like to honor the now deafening rallying cry coming from the students in Parkland, Florida. May their sound they're going to change everything. May their sound be loud and clear and rise above all else. Thank you.